The Attic was directed by Mary Lambert, who directed the original Pet Sematary, the first film to scare the shit out of me and introduce me into the world of horror when I was like 5 or something. And since then, Mary Lambert has decided to take some interesting projects on, to say the least. Some of them being hilariously, horrifically bad. Urban Legend Bloody Mary, she directed that. I enjoyed it for how ridiculous it is. She directed one of those like Gatoroid versus Crocosaurus or something like that. She directed one of those campy monster movies too. And she directed The Attic, which I watched the trailer and I heard the synopsis and it sounded great. Alexander Daddario in it is hot as hell, so I'll basically watch anything she's in, even Texas Chainsaw, the the one she's in. I think it's Texas Chainsaw. I think it's just Texas Chainsaw. But oh my gosh, The Attic! Holy fuck! Like this is like the Room level of accidental hilarity. I mean, I can't say it's not enjoyable because it is just so funny. But man, this feels like the worst TV movie. It is it is just ridiculous. To say the absolute least. We've got Elizabeth Moss starring in this, made famous now by well, she was famous for a while, but she's big for Invisible Man. She was in the Invisible Man. She was also in Get Him to the Greek. I really do not like that film at all, but she's in that, and she's in a bunch of stuff. She was basically like in her early to mid 20s, I think, in this movie. She's very, very, very beautiful. And the acting, when it comes to the acting, like none of the bad acting or anything like that is the actor's fault. I mean, this is all in the direction. This is all in the direction. Everything that has to do with this movie being as crazy ridiculous as it is, and crazy laughable as it is all in the direction. Whew, what a doozy. Okay, so what we have here is basically sort of a haunted house story. Elizabeth Moss, she plays this character named, is she Emma? Yes, yeah, her name is Emma. She lives in this house and she firmly believes that she has a dead twin. And throughout the story, she firmly believes that she's seeing this dead twin, who is like ghostly and stuff like that, and murderous. And she starts to believe that her parents, it basically is like covering up her twin's death kind of thing. There's this incident where well, first of all, the film opens up with Alexandra Daddario. She's taking a bath and then she sees a ghost herself. She goes outside and she basically dies in the backyard. This film is filled with those 2000s camera trick, or editing trick, I should say, tropes where like everybody shakes like they're having a seizure for no reason and it's trying to be scary. There's a lot of that going on throughout the entire film. Then we have Elizabeth Moss' character, Emma. She has a brother named Frankie who is supposed to be autistic, because he has the like he's very detailed on everything, and you can tell he just doesn't play autistic very well. I don't know if Mary Lambert did her proper autistic research. You know, what's that movie with Tom Hanks? Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. That is autism portrayed as autism. Okay, the way the kid did it. This is not. It's just, it doesn't. I don't know too much about, like, I haven't done my research or anything, but from what I know, you can tell when something is believable and something is not. And Frankie in this movie is not believably autistic, in my opinion, at all. But he's a sweet kid. He lives at home too. He came home from, I think he was living on his own, but he came back to live with his parents. The father is played by John Savage. Is it John Savage? Yes, John Savage. Okay, this is this is like John Savage from The Deer Hunter, John Savage from The Godfather Part 3. Okay, I don't know what the fuck he was told to do in this movie, but I don't understand. I don't understand. A legendary actor like this acting the way he is in this movie. I don't understand. Mary was trying to get something out of him, some kind of direction or some kind of person. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why he read the script and wanted to be in a project like this with his resume behind him. I don't know at all. But Emma, played by Elizabeth Moss, is agoraphobic. Yeah, she's very scared of leaving the house. She stops going to college even though she's enrolled. Her dad wants to like cancel college so he can not pay for it because she's not going anyway. Frankie always wants to hang out with her because he wants to go outside into the woods and play because he has like a childlike mentality, and he really wants to spend time with his sister. I don't know if it's his older sister or younger sister, but regardless, and she's always just kind of shrugging him off, and she's agoraphobic, so she really is afraid of going outside, and with these ghostly visions, she's even more afraid. She has an accident where she falls down the stairs, I think, and this paramedic comes. His name is John Trevor, like the soap opera. According to, there's a soap opera that they mention in the show, and his name is like the soap opera John Trevor. And I recognize his face, but when I looked him up, the actor, I didn't recognize him from anything that sounded familiar to me. So maybe I've seen him in passing in certain shows that I've just seen in clips. I don't know, but he has this very familiar, very handsome, like 2000s, slicked blonde hair, kind of stereotypical guy you would see on a soap opera kind of thing. He has that pointy jaw, blue eyes kind of look, and he basically starts flirting with Emma immediately. Then he comes back to the house later and he starts playing detective, even though he's a paramedic. And he just goes detective mode, and then he wants to like go look at the attic, and Emma's immediately falling in love with him, and they start budding this romance that just is forced is not even the right word to put it. It's just strange, and he starts going cop mode, going detective mode. He just, even the way they're falling in love feels like a soap opera. It's just so friggin' cheesy. It plays off as ridiculous. Throughout the film, it's discovered that there was a twin sister. She died. They were twins. She died like 8 days after they both were born. And it turns out that all the violence and murders that were going on in the film, including Frankie, who dies at one point in the backyard because of the ghost, was Emma doing it the whole time. So a lot of the way the film plays out is things that have been done before, and nothing very much new. It's just certain things that happen in this film that are just so ridiculous. There's this one scene in the kitchen where Emma is not eating, and John Savage's character Graham comes in, and he basically is like telling her, like basically forcing her to eat something, and he's like, you know what, I want to watch you eat something, and then he takes food and is like shoving it in her mouth, and it's just horrendous acting, and it just comes off as so ridiculous, and the situation is just, ugh. it's it's not believable. It's just silly. It's so silly. Um, Closer to the end of the movie, she's eating pasta, and she's like, "Look, Daddy, I'm eating." She holds pasta. She's a mess. She's got tomato sauce everywhere. And then the father's like, "Oh yeah, it's good." He takes like a piece of penne and puts it in his mouth. He's like, "See?" And it's like coming off as like this the strangest directed movie ever. Like I said, it's The Room kind of funny and kind of ridiculous. There is not a man in this film that Elizabeth Moss does not hit on. Okay, none. That includes Trevor. That includes Frankie, her brother. That includes Graham, her dad. There's a scene where she makes out with her father after that pasta scene that comes on. There's the therapist. She's hitting on him. The therapist comes to treat her at home because she's agoraphobic. She is just the way she talks to every male in this movie. She is flirting with the male. There's this scene where Trevor comes in, the paramedic who's now a detective, and he kind of hints that he doesn't believe Emma's story anymore, and that he's starting to think that she may be, hallucinating things. And she's like, "Then why are you here? Because you just want to fuck me, don't you? You just want to fuck me, don't you? Don't you? Don't you?" And she gets so pissed off at him because she thinks that he's just there for her pussy. And 30 seconds later, she's all making out with him and they fuck. She just gets over it like that. And then they just start banging. And then he's like, after they have sex, he's like, "I better go before, if anybody catches me here doing this, like, shit'll hit the fan." And she's just like, "Huh?" And then she like takes a picture of him that she was given a camera to take pictures of people. Like whenever she sees somebody scary or somebody that she doesn't like, she was given a camera by her brother to take pictures of them. And later on in the movie, those pictures reveal that everything was in her head, because in the pictures there's nobody there when she takes the pictures of the ghost girl. Fuck, you would think I'm making this up, right? But no, it's it's the climax where she confronts her parents because her parents want to put something similar to Valium in her juice so she can go to sleep. She holds them at gunpoint, and this is where they reveal that she killed Frankie, and she shoots them, and and then she's sitting on the couch waiting for like the cops to show up, and here comes Trevor, who is now Brad Howard. So he was always the paramedic, and she basically invented this whole Trevor story in her head, but actually never met Trevor. So she imagined Trevor the whole time as Trevor. Like she imagined the paramedic that came to her at the beginning of the movie as this Trevor, John Trevor guy. So she fantasized the whole scenario with him. And he shows up, he's just like, "No, my name's Brad Howard." And basically she holds the gun to him. And again, another really, really strange scene that the direction is just strange, because she's holding the gun at Brad Howard saying, "No, you're Trevor. Admit you're Trevor. I'm going to shoot you right now." But it flashes back and forth of her holding the gun at him and holding the gun underneath her chin. And she's like, "Tell me right now or I'm going to shoot you." But then it'll show her doing this and her saying the same thing. So she'll be like, say you're Trevor, I'm going to shoot you." And then she'll be like, "Say you're Trevor, I'm going to shoot you. I swear I'll shoot you." And it just goes back and forth like that. And then she counts to three, and then she shoots herself. And then it ends with the cops investigating everything, and the therapist saying that, like, reality is basically what you create in your head. So people with psychosis, they literally create realities in their head, and they are as real as reality. And the one of the cops, he's just so dramatically, he's like, "Houses don't kill people." And then I think the therapist or somebody else is like, "Well, this one does. This one does." So Alexandra Daddario at the beginning of the movie was basically somebody that was living in the house decades earlier, and that's how they introduced the story. But oh my, Mary Lambert, you made an unintentionally funny ass film, and I will say, I will give this film a little bit of credit. I watched it twice, and I liked it better the second time. Okay, there's that. The first time I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?" And the second time I was like, I still laughed at it the first time, but on the second time I was like, "Okay, that's a little bit even more entertaining." Watch this as like the worst soap opera you've ever seen in your life, sprinkled with some horror elements that are trying to be like TV horror elements, and throw in some incestual makeouts and stupid pasta scenes, and you get The Attic. And of course, throw in that tire that plays into the film when the ghost girl is swinging on it. So That's The Attic, directed by Mary Lambert. Came out in 2006, and I can't say I didn't have fun with it. So there's that. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review. Have a good one, guys. Take care and cheers.